Welcome to Adventist Examination, where we will test the doctrines of the Seventh-day Adventist Church against the Scriptures. This channel exists for one main reason: to examine the truth claims. Many times, when Seventh-day Adventist doctrines are questioned, the response is not always to open the Scriptures and carefully examine the matter. Instead, Adventists are often told, people are always told by Adventists, why are you talking about the Adventist church when there are many other churches out there? But that question misses the point. The issue is not whether other churches should also be examined. The issue is whether the teachings of the Seventh-day Adventist church are biblical. Adventists themselves openly critique other churches, especially the Roman Catholic Church. Therefore, it is fair, reasonable, and necessary to examine Adventism by the same standards. The goal of this channel is not personal hatred. It is not an attack on individual Adventists. It is an examination of doctrine. As the book of Sirach says, blame not before you have examined the truth. Understand first, then rebuke. That is the principle behind this channel. Before making claims, we must examine. Before rebuking, we must understand. Before accepting a doctrine, we must test it. And after examining the doctrines of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, I have found many of them to be unsupported by Scripture, but dependent on Ellen White. And it is built on interpretations that do not hold up when tested carefully. This is why Acts 17 verse 11 is so important. Speaking of the Bereans, the Scripture says, "These were more noble than those in Thessalonica, in that they received the word daily with all readiness of mind, and searched the Scriptures daily whether those things were so." Notice what made the Bereans noble. They did not reject Paul immediately, but they also did not blandly accept Paul simply because he sounded confident, or quoted the Scripture, or spoke with authority. They searched the Scriptures daily to see whether what he taught was true. That is the standard. If Paul's teaching could be examined, then Ellen White's teaching can be examined. If Paul's message could be tested, then Adventist doctrine can be tested too. If the Bereans were called noble for checking the Scriptures, then no church should discourage people from examining its claims. One of the major claims within the Seventh-day Adventist Church is that the Seventh-day Adventist Church is Jehovah's special last-day remnant movement. This idea comes from the writings of Ellen White. In Testimonies for the Church, Volume 7, she writes, "Seventh-day Adventists have been chosen by God as a peculiar people, separate from the world. By the great cleaver of truth, he has cut them out from the quarry of the world and brought them into the connection with himself. He has made them his representatives and has called them to be ambassadors for him in the last work of salvation. The greatest worth of truth ever entrusted to mortals, the most solemn and fearful warnings ever sent by God to men, have been committed to them to be given to the world. And in the accomplishment of this work, our publishing houses are among the most effective agencies." End quote. This is not a small claim. This is a claim that the Seventh-day Adventist Church has been especially chosen by the Most High for the last work of salvation. So the question is simple: is this claim biblical? Did the apostles teach that a denomination founded in the 1800s will become the chosen last church? Did Yahushua himself teach that salvation would later be tied to an organization led by Ellen White as a prophetic authority? Did the prophets speak of the Seventh-day Adventist denomination as the final movement of truth? These are serious questions and they must be examined. Well, first of all, who is Ellen White? So she's a prophetess of the SDA Church. Just like any other New Age church that always has to come with a prophet. She was also the co-founder of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, even though many unsuspected Adventists don't even know that she co-founded the church. Their own website tells us that, but SDAs themselves don't believe it every time I tell them that. The official Seventh-day Adventist belief on the gift of prophecy, belief number 18, identifies her ministry as a continuing and authoritative source connected to the prophetic gift. This is what it says. One of the most prominent co-founders of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, Ellen White, demonstrated the gift of prophecy and also met the criteria of the above tests of a prophet. So although many Adventists love to say, well, no, she was not an Adventist, their own official website says otherwise, that she is a prophet and she was one of the co-founders of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. So in practice, this means Ellen White's writings have had a major role in shaping Adventist doctrine, identity, and interpretation. In fact, the ex-General Conference President Ted Wilson said that the Seventh-day Adventist Church would not be where it is today if it wasn't for Ellen G. White. And this is where the issue becomes serious. Many Adventists will say we only believe the Bible. But when you examine the doctrines carefully, many distinct Adventist teachings are difficult to defend without Ellen White. The major doctrines, such as the investigative judgment, the 1844 doctrine, the century message, and the grave controversy framework, the prophetic role of Ellen White, these are some of the issues and doctrines that are very central to Adventist identity that are not just minor issues.
Because she has been the target of unceasing attacks, which is nothing more than a fulfillment of prophecy, which then certifies and which supports her validity as a genuine prophet. Because she said it would happen. So when you attack her, you're fulfilling prophecy. Thank you for that.
So within Adventism, they have made very clear that if you question Ellen White, you are not considered as a true Adventist. You are not allowed to question the prophet because she has also carefully put in place a prophecy that will stop people from doing so, but not us. Instead of allowing open examination, some treat criticism of Ellen White as dangerous, rebellious, or spiritually suspicious. But Acts 17:11 gave us the principle. Truth does not fear examination. If Ellen White was truly a prophet of Yahuwah, then her writings should withstand biblical testing. If her teachings contradict scripture, fail historical examination, or create doctrines that the apostles never taught, then we have a responsibility to say so. A true prophet does not need protection from investigation. A true doctrine does not need fear tactics. A true church does not need to discourage people from asking questions. Again, even the ex-General Conference President told the Adventists that they should only look within the Seventh-day Adventist Church, not studying broadly.